Greetings to you all. My name is Chisale, and I'm the Youth Ambassador for the International Center of Information Ethics. The topic I will be unpacking today is the impact of ICTs in a developing country such as South Africa. Telecommunications is seen as the study of interacting or communicating over a distance through the means of data, telephone, social media, and/or radio. Over the years, the way communication is transmitted from one person to the next has drastically changed. Sumbanyambe, Nell, and Clark are of the opinion that well implemented regulatory and policy reform within a developing country such as South Africa promotes economic growth and alleviates poverty. However, regulatory withdrawal exacerbates it. Economic freedom in South Africa is highly linked with access. Access grants opportunities, access to technology and telecommunications, respectively. It is thus important to implement policies which look at the inclusion of all people and which eliminates barriers such as the digital divide. The efforts to government's involvement in the ICT sector can have a great impact to socio-economic development of people who are socially and economically disadvantaged. The rapid changes and developments in the global economic environment, as well as the rise of the internet, has made it much easier to communicate with people while being mobile. This in turn has transformed the business and education environment in every country, causing the competitiveness in the market, which increases with each passing year. The current age of the fourth industrial revolution of technology as well as globalization has created opportunities and opened doors which would have never been possible before. The public and private sector The public and private sector organizations are highly confronted with ongoing pressures to streamline activities, nurture innovation, advance efficiency, as well as achieve demanding organizational objectives through effective communication. Telecommunications has improved the way people run their daily lives and is closely embedded to the functioning of almost every activity. Thus, it is important to have policies that cover and speak to the new discoveries and implementations pertaining the growth and establishment of the socio-economic growth in South Africa. Now, the era of telecommunications has changed the spectrum of history, and it presented the opportunity for people to communicate effectively through the means of text, sound, multimedia, as well as text over real time at any distance. It is much easier today for a person who's in South Africa to communicate with someone in Switzerland, for an example. They will receive that communication instantly as opposed to a few years back. In the wake of a new dawn in South Africa in the year 1994, several policies were drafted and implemented to promote access and universal services among the citizens of South Africa. Policies were drafted and implemented to protect the citizens and to grant access where applicable. In order to combat socio-economic imbalances within the ICT sector and structures, access to social and economic development needs to be realized. Now, artificial intelligence within the ICT sector has the potential to reduce labor and transactional costs. It increases productivity and information flows in the economy and in the resource constrained environments and developing countries. It helps overcome logistical bottlenecks and corruption within supply chain management and administrative processes. Now, an example that we can look at firstly is the COVID-19 vaccination roll, rollout in South Africa. We've seen how People in remote areas were able to access and register either online through their own efforts or through people going door to door or volunteers going door to door and encouraging them to apply for the vaccination. What would happen then is that they would register. After registering, they will get an SMS stating the place where they will be vaccinated, the time, and the day. Now, this has helped the vaccination rollout in South Africa greatly because not everyone has access to a radio, not everyone has access to a television set, not everyone has access to the internet. However, the volunteers going door to door using a form or means of ICTs or artificial intelligence has given these people access to the vaccination rollout. Another example can be the SASSA grant payroll. When we look at the SASSA grant payroll and where it has come from to where it is today, there are great changes within the system and structure. People used to stand in long queues, either at a post office or a ShopRite, for an example. And they used to stand in these queues, present their card, get their money, and use their money throughout the month. Now, the Easy Pay system has been implemented on that card. A recipient of a SASSA grant can use that card either to tap wherever they buy or go to a bank of their choice and withdraw whichever money or whichever money that they choose to use at that point in time. Now, we've seen how artificial intelligence has played a role in the system where people can have access to their money without having to stand in long queues and wait whether they get access to this money or not, depending on whether the money runs out or not. Now, these implemented systems have made life easier for SASSA grant recipients. Artificial intelligence has created environments for investing and consistently evolving technologies that are needed to provide high speed and good quality infrastructure and services on which these innovations and global competitiveness depend on. The SASO grant system is a great example of how these are constantly evolving technologies. It is not the same as it was when it started. And that is the improvement that we would like to see. For people living in remote areas, they can go to the nearest town without having to wait in a long queue. They can go to an ATM and withdraw their money. They can go to a Checkers and withdraw their money. They can go to a ShopRite and withdraw their money. There is more availability to them accessing their money as opposed to when the payout roll, the rollout of the grant system started. Now, as I conclude, I will use the words of Ndidi Okonkwo Nuneli. She said, in order for there to be effective change, let us disrupt and redesign. I love the two words that say disrupt and redesign. When you disrupt a system that has already been in place, for an example, the SASA grant system, people had to stand in long queues in order for them to get money. Sometimes they will stand in these long queues to find out that the money has run out when they get to the front. When these systems are disrupted through artificial intelligence, we get to redesign them by using artificial intelligence, and it makes life much easier for recipients. They can go to an ATM, they can go to any other store that they prefer to go to and still access their money. Whether they leave home to go to town, they can be assured that they will get their grant money at the end of the day. Now, creating access for all will open doors for all to be part of the revolution. For there to be an effective and sustainable change, we need to disrupt, we need to disrupt current processes and how things are done and redesign a new way of achieving our goals. I thank you.